from the beginning, you are Tongan. It doesn't matter if you look Tongan or speak Tongan, or you wear a tauwala, or you can do the laka laka, whatever. It's in your toto, it's in your DNA. You are Tongan, and that is the foundational point to start with. So, yeah, I think reintroducing or reviving this beautiful practice is another piece to the puzzle of who we are. It's an outward expression of what's taking place on the inside.
In my own way, by taking on the process and, going and having these marks on me now, I feel far more connected in my own way. I guess it's just doesn't need to be for anyone else, but, just my own connection to who I am and how I see Tonga and what it means to me. And that's important for me. My marks connect me very to who I am. And it's interesting because they're on my back, so I don't really see them. But and sometimes it's like you forget they're there, but I know that if I'm somewhere I know that they just become, I don't know, they're a mark for me. I don't know, it just makes me, I'm deeply proud to have my Tongan roots. I couldn't think of anything else I would rather have on my skin.
I wanted to represent my family, and one thing for me is loyalty and protection, and that, the outline of it was all about that too. And it protects me, and the breastplate idea of it protects the heart, and for us Tongans, we love to give and give big. And so growing up, I've always wanted to represent that out to people, to show that out to people. And I think that for me in this piece is what more hits me. It's the way of protecting yourself, even though you can give a little bit too much to some people who don't deserve it and all that kind of stuff. And it's family and things like that in that piece as well. And yeah, I guess there's a lot of things that could mean in this piece, but for me it's that protecting the biggest thing for us, and it's love in the heart.
It would always be centered around Talanoa, what's your intent behind it, what's going on. And so the markings that I have, which are Tongan, also are pictures, if you will, or frozen moments in time of kind of where I've come from in my journey. So there's a very meanness embedded in the markings, but also there's a sort of a meta meanness, a more bigger narrative as well around being Tongan. I feel like these markings, my journey with Tātatau is just following the breadcrumbs to home, and on many levels, the physical home, but also the old, what is no longer here home. Those, I feel, Tātatau and other art forms have inklings and echoes that point to a more deeper understanding of what it means to be Tongan. And again, that just strengthens my sense of rootedness and groundedness in what that is.
To me, as a Tongan, a New Zealand-born Tongan who's sort of grown up in a Tongan experience, which also involves being descendant Māori, descendant Palangi. There are so many worlds that kind of influence who I am as a person, and Tātatau is one way in which I can express and really live in that Tonganness, because a lot of us experience that sense of sort of growing up with a fusion of heaps of different cultures, and in New Zealand and Aotearoa hasn't always been that Pacific or Māori or cultures have been the dominant ones in my life anyway. So as I've grown, these things become clear and important to you, and living within that tātatau and with it is important to me in terms of who I am as a person. In a space in which there's not a lot of Māori and Pacific lawyers who work in the criminal space, we're very much a minority. There's not a huge amount of people who are doing it. People are starting to see the value in having Māori and Pacific lawyers contributing to the development of our law, and so if our markings help us, carry us there and carry us through that and remind us of the way that we need to do our work, then that's all the better for everyone who's part of that sort of system,
My first tattoos were for me and just because, and I didn't require anyone to have input or opinion about it, and they weren't deeper than me wanting to outwardly make a statement about myself, period. And now it's more important that there's depth to whatever I have and whatever I get next. So that's growth, like within myself, in terms of how I connect with Tātatau itself. And so for me, having a tattoo that recognises the birth and death of my son it brings peace, and it brings me happiness, and it brings reminders of how amazing my family was in that space with me while I suffered my loss. So that despite anything else, I actually hold a great deal of peace about what happened. And so having a tattoo which means his name is spoken, his memory is talked about, is beautiful. Yeah.